bring you some more news now on BBC Essex, and this relates to Manningtree, because campaigners are calling for Manningtree railway station to turn down its car park lighting at night because they say it's blighting the night sky. Now, the lights in the car park are reportedly 2 to 3 times brighter than the town of Manningtree itself, although the BBC isn't able to independently verify that. Well, let's hear from Mike Bartlett, an astronomer living in the area. Mike says there is no need for these lights to be quite so bright.
What's causing the light pollution is the number of lights that they're using here and the brightness of them. When I actually took a photo on the car park, and it showed, with the lights on, it's as bright as daylight, and there's no need for it at all, especially when there's nobody around.
Well, let's talk on BBC Essex now to Charles Clover, chair of the Dedham Vale Society. Charles, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on. So what do you think about the situation then? I mean, how bright are these lights in your view?
Well, they're very bright indeed. They can be seen for well over a mile away. And this is a £3 million development that was built without planning permission in an area of outstanding natural beauty. So Greater Anglia never asked anybody whether they should put all these lights in. There are far too many of them, and we want them to take them away, or take the unnecessary ones away. They are blighting our ability to get the whole area of outstanding natural beauty, the Dedham Vale area of outstanding natural beauty, dark sky status with the international authorities. I mean, they didn't really know what they were doing, but they should have asked people. They would have actually had to have done all sorts of mitigation if they'd actually bothered to apply for planning permission. They didn't.
I haven't got them on, Charles. I have got a statement, though, and they say, I appreciate that the planning permission is a separate thing, but in response to this, they'll say that the lighting is fully compliant. It's installed to railway standards and it meets the secure station accreditation. So based on that, do you think there's going to be much movement?
Well, there have to be, because this is part of an enforcement action by a tendering district council which accepts that they didn't have planning permission in the first place. And they may be compliant with railway standards, but they aren't compliant with the AONB laws. And they've been told so by the AONB board, which has objected just as strongly to the lighting.
There needs to be some sort of lighting there for safety and security, especially with it being a railway station. So are you saying just some mitigations put in place, or getting rid of most of the lighting? What would you like to see?
Well, there's not just the lighting. There is an enormous steel piling wall, which is now the gateway to the AONB, and we've called the Berlin Wall. It is a complete eyesore. So it's the whole development that was ill-conceived is the problem. You could do something about the lighting. You could reduce it by you could take the height down, you could take about 2/3 of it out and still be able to see the car park. You could be able to find your way to the car quite easily. The extraordinary thing is another thing that they built without planning permission was the bike shed, which emits all the light that you can see from all around. I mean, the car park is actually quite good lighting. It's just too much of it. The bike shed is the wrong kind of lighting, shining out all over the place. And again, built without planning permission. We've been telling Greater Anglia they needed planning permission since 2008, since when they've built about 3 increments of this car park development. And while everybody knows we need a car park, you do need to apply for planning permission. If you built a house without planning permission, you'd have to take it down. I don't see why the same doesn't apply to Greater Anglia.
Well, that side, I haven't got them on, as I say. I've got a statement on the lighting side of things. And I suppose, Charles, it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because, as you say, the area of outstanding natural beauty, you want that, and you're trying to get this dark sky accreditation as well, which is wonderful. But they're also, that needs to be balanced against the needs of people who live in the area, work, and need some of those facilities and infrastructure. And sometimes that can be a difficult line to tread, but you must appreciate that there does need to be things like bike racks and different things to provide that infrastructure for people living and commuting from that area.
Absolutely. Our local MP rang me up when the Greater Anglia intended to extend the car park and said, did the Dedham Vale Society object to a new car park? The infrastructure required? And I said, no, of course, the area needs it, but you must put it through the planning system, because then it will have to be landscaped, then the lighting will have to be considered, because this is affecting the tranquility of the whole of the area of outstanding natural beauty. And Greater Anglia, who are an extraordinarily arrogant company, did not bother to do that, though they had been told that their development had such an enormous environmental impact that it would have to go through the planning system. They didn't, and they continue to deny that they had to do this. And tendering are just going to have to take enforcement action, I'm afraid. They just won't listen.
They say they haven't received any formal complaints about the lighting in particular, and they would encourage anyone with concerns to contact. I mean, have you complained?
I've complained through the planning authority through tendering that this is an egregious development in an AONB. Tendering, Greater Anglia know perfectly well that it's utter nonsense that no one has complained. The people to complain to...
Why don't you complain to them, though? They've said they've not received any complaints, so why don't you complain to them as well?
Well, I dispute that Greater Anglia don't know exactly what's going on. They're just trying to turn a blind eye, as ever. I'm sure that there have been complaints. So we'll certainly be getting some today.
Thank you very much, Charles, for coming on this morning. Charles Clover, chair of the Dedham Vale Society. Well, as I say, Greater Anglia are not here to talk about some of those points made by Charles, but I do have a statement I can bring you which says the lighting in the car park at Manningtree Railway Station is fully compliant, installed to railway standards and meets the secure station accreditation. It's fitted with LED lighting, says Greater Anglia, which uses less energy and helps to reduce the impact on the environment. We've not received any formal complaints about the lighting in the car park, and we would encourage anyone with concerns to contact us direct. It's 7:46.